Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 268, recorded on March 27th, 2023. And we're here to talk about some interesting E3 news and kind of give some speculation on the future of E3 and maybe some other gaming events. We're going to talk about some remakes and rumors that are coming out and several other stories. But as far as introductions go, my name is Steve, and of course, I am not alone. I'm also joined by Barry. Barry, how's it going?
Hey, Steve. It's going well. Glad to be here again.
Awesome. And of course, also joined by Greg. How are you doing, Greg?
I'm doing well. Apparently, Steve didn't get the Zelda memo for this time around. Last time we had the NintendoFuse shirts, and now me and Barry are going Zelda. So
yeah,
exactly.
Had to bring the Mario one out, and this is actually a new shirt I just got for Christmas, believe it or not. And you're like, wait, it's March. I'll get to that in a second. But before we jump into all the news that we're going to discuss and everything else, we record this live every other Monday, pretty much every other Monday. Sometimes we'll take breaks in there every once in a while, but every other Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. And we would love for you to join us in the live chat room. We stream live on Twitch, and also on YouTube. And right now, joining us in the chat room is Kevin, Logan, and Jakester, and I'm sure others are going to pop in throughout the live recording. And if you've never joined us for a live recording, we want to encourage you to do that. We love interacting with you all throughout the podcast recording and hearing what you've been playing and all your thoughts on all the news and everything like that as well. And in between episodes, we would love for you to join us on social media. We're at NintendoFuse here over on Twitter. And also, we are over on Discord. And if you've never joined our Discord community, please do so. That link is on the screen if you're watching the video version, but also in the show notes and the YouTube description. We love interacting with you guys in there. And if you have not joined, please do so. Speaking of Discord, our topic tonight just happened to be Logan, who is in the chat right now, mentioned something in the Discord server earlier today, and he's like, "Hey, you should talk. What does everybody think about E3 and everything?" And was like, "Hey, Logan." Funny enough, that's actually our podcast topic for tonight. So glad to see you there, Logan, and hopefully we can get your thoughts on that as well when we get to that topic. But let's start off with what we have been playing, and we're going to start off with Greg tonight. I'm going to change it up a little bit.
Ooh, man, that's
the curveball.
There's so much to say, but no, just the usual amount. Pretty average for me. So still working on Kirby's Return to Dreamland. I made it to World 5, so it's been a pretty fun game. I've also been trying to go through some of the extra missions that appear, and I like the little in-game jokes like, oh, these are truly the extra missions, because like normally like the first set was just like extra like missions that were for like just playing all the levels and all the different mini games and all that kind of stuff, and entering a level with like a power up or a mask or like a costume thing. So it's like, oh, here's like the true extra missions, and then there are like the ultra challenging ones where it's like you have to get like high scores on pretty much all the different games and like or win the game like the 3 times on the hardest difficulty level. So I'm starting to crack away at a few of those, along with still working through the story mode, which hopefully should be wrapped up by the next podcast. I've also been doing some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I finally had a chance to check out those new courses that dropped, was it last week or maybe right before the last podcast, whenever that was, but it was finally had some time to check out the new courses. I absolutely love the Yoshi's Island one. That one's just very incredible. I love all the different throwback sound effects and everything they threw back to the game. So like when you get first, it plays like the Super Mario World 2, like the Yoshi's Island like end theme level, and then like when you're collecting the coins, they show the little Yoshi dragon coin along with like it makes like a red coin sound like when you find it in the level. So it's lots of awesome, great touches that they did to throw into the Yoshi universe. Similar treatment that they did with the Animal Crossing and the like F-Zero and the Hyrule Castle levels. So that was really cool to see, and also got to finally experience some of the other tour level courses that I missed out on as well. So all around, it seems like it's a pretty good, solid batch of levels, and can't wait to see what the the following packs later on this year. I also did a little bit more Super Mario 3D World with my girlfriend. Was able to help her wrap up World 8, so that final level was giving her a lot of trouble. So she's like, how do you do it? I'm like, oh, it's probably easiest if you have a cat suit, but then you also can't really use like the invincibility like iframes or anything because the level scrolls. So it was just kind of a capstone course to wrap up for it. And then finally, still playing Fire Emblem Heroes and also Roblox still. So pretty much still standard items there. For Fire Emblem Heroes, they have like the Hero Rises banner going on right now, and that's really cool. Where they have done like a poll to see which unit should be given free to all players. So once again, like they have that offers going on right now. If Barry wants to collect a free powerful hero,
I'll get right on that.
Nice. Nice. We'll go into the chat before we hop over to Barry. It looks like Logan says was playing Diablo 4 open beta weekend. It was a good story and great world map. The MMO Light, where you are other players after a while in the open world, not in the dungeons. And also, Jakester says, I've been playing Digimon Survives True Ending. Got a month of Game Pass Ultimate, so also be cycling through some games while working on Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. So, cool. I have not been doing much, so I'm just gonna toss it over to you, Barry. I'm gonna hear what you've been playing, and then I'm gonna show off something else after you get done sharing.
Sure. Still no Life is Strange 2 finale. Come on, man. Come on. You're right there. You're right there. So for me, still doing Pokemon Unite, my daily stuff, and just been enjoying it. Just did an event that wrapped up, so that was fun to do. Still playing some Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line. They've been trickling out the DLC, so like they did the World Ends with You and Neo World Ends with You. I love the music of those games. I just wish there was more than 6 songs, but it's great to see them constantly add. And I think one of the Chrono ones maybe is this week. There's a DLC pack this week that I'm looking forward to. Been playing some Bayonetta Origins. Wasn't I wasn't totally sure. I was sold on the game, but then as I started playing in the beginning, it's very, very tutorial heavy. It's very, very, you know, kind of like hold your hand almost. And I was like, maybe. And then they split. And then you have Cereza and you have the demon Cheshire, and you have to control one with the left analog and one with the right. And I hate games like that. I'm like, oh no, I didn't really. I was hoping it wasn't going to be totally like this, like one would be auto maybe, but no, it's like that. And I would have quit if they didn't add, but they have hug mode where you can pull Cheshire back as a little doll, and you can now just control one character. I'm like, oh, good, so I can run around the world as one character and then combat do two. And I still find myself throwing one character to a wall while the other one attacks. And it just sometimes it's hard for me to just do left and right at the same time and focus. And we played some games like Damaged in Transit for a game chat where it was like that. And I was like, all right, this is getting crazy. But the game is super charming, and I've gotten really into it. I think I'm at like 38% done because when you save, it actually has a percentage. I'm not getting everything, but I'm going through the story and going through the worlds, and they're very colorful. And it's the whole thing's like told like a grandmother talking to her grandson or granddaughter and reading the story. So like when the demon talks, like it's never the demon's voice, it's always the grandmother's voice doing the demon, like the demon says this, and like she gets deep. Cereza herself is actually voiced though, so it's really cute and really charming. So I am having fun with it. Very, very different than Bayonetta 1 and to 3. It's like if you're going to take one game IP and make it so that it's child friendly, that people of all ages can enjoy as a storybook, I would never expect the highly sexualized, naked witch. But that's what they did, and it works. So I'm having fun with that. But I haven't played as much because my main focus the past 2 weeks has been Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure, which I was waiting for last time, and it finally came. It came a day late. I actually bought the digital version because it was still showing as like label printed, and then magically on Wednesday, the day after launch, it just was out for delivery. I'm like, whoa! It just I wasn't sure, so I'm like, screw it, I'm buying the digital. I want to play it as ASAP. So I have both versions now, and loved it. Absolutely loved it. If you haven't played any of the Falcom games, you really need to. If you like RPGs, they're so good. Story is so good. Do not start with Azor. If you're gonna start with any, of them, zero before Azor, because they're two halves of the same game. Just an awesome experience. And for those that have played the Legend of Heroes games, you know it. We've been waiting for this game for a long time to finally get an official release, and did not disappoint. It was just really good through and through, and it made the Cold Steel games even better because of all the interconnectivity. Outside of that, on PC, still doing Final Fantasy 14. They just had a patch, a couple weeks ago, and they added a new deep dungeon that I've been running through with my static. That's always fun. It's just great to get together with friends and run content again. And then on mobile, still doing Mario Kart Tour.
Nice. Well, like I said, have not been playing much. And my sister got married this last week, and so I was traveling a lot, and our flights out and back were like 5 in the morning, or almost 5 in the morning. So it was really early in the morning. So needless to say, I did not even touch my Switch while I was flying. I was just sleeping the entire trip. So normally those are times when I bring out some games and we'll play them, but not on this trip. And really really busy with all the wedding stuff and everything. Jake just says congrats to my sis, so thanks for that. But what did happen, other than playing some Rocket League and Clash Royale, and really not much Rocket League either at that because of all the travel, we had our family Christmas because my flights got canceled and everything around Christmas time, and so we decided to exchange gifts in March because we finally were all together. So, like I mentioned earlier, this shirt is one my grandmother got for me for Christmas, and I also got some other. This is like the extension of our January show and tell episode, but I got a new Mario ornament there, and also I got the Hallmark Legend of Zelda ornament as well. So really happy
That's a nice
to get
one.
that one, the Link one from Breath of the Wild. Got a $20 eShop card from I think my aunt or something like that. I got the Super Mario Uno. So just regular Uno, but it's got Super Mario characters on it, which is pretty cool. Speaking of which, a friend of mine got me. I totally forgot about it. I don't think I mentioned it on the podcast before, but have you guys played the game Labyrinth? It's like a board game
Long time
ish
ago.
sort of thing. Yeah, there's a Mario version of Labyrinth that he got me, and we played that a couple months ago, my wife and I, and had a blast. That was pretty fun. And then the other things I got were a bunch of Hot Wheels, the Mario Kart ones. So my dad is really into Hot Wheels, and he collects certain cars, and so I think he kind of went crazy when he found out that I'm also into a series of Hot Wheels, and so he's got me a bunch of things, and almost finished out the collection, other than the San Diego Comic-Con special edition ones out there because they are worth a whole lot of money. There's 3 of those, but I think I'm just missing one of the main series right now,
Wow.
of the regular ones, and then one of the glider ones. So I got here's the Baby Peach one with the pipe frame. That one I'd not been able to find in any store at all, but he found it somewhere, so I don't really know where that happened. And I got a bunch of the Yoshis that were available only in blind boxes. So here's the yellow one, but I got
Oh,
pretty
those are
much.
so cool.
They're pretty cool, and you can take them out and everything. But yeah. So I have all the different colored Yoshis except for the silver one, and then I'm, like I said, missing a red Yoshi with a glider that right now is only sold in a 7-pack, and I have the other 6. So I'm like, I don't know if I really want to spend all that money on
I
6
hate when they do that.
that I
It's
have
so
already.
frustrating.
I know
It's so frustrating.
so frustrating. Like my parents got me so that there 2 of the other ones that I needed came in a 4-pack that I had the other 3. My parents bought me one, and I actually just found another one today. And so I got those, which, having 3 that I'm gonna get rid of is one thing. But if I have 6 I gotta get rid of, I'm like, and it's quite a bit of money
Here's what you
because it
do. Here's what you
counts all
do.
those in.
You buy the 7-pack to keep that extra one, and those other 6, you do a little hole in the top of the head, and you put the hook in there, and you make them ornaments, and you turn them into ornaments. That's what
There
we
you
did
go.
with a lot of our World of Nintendo characters, and we got extras of the little 4-inch
Mm-hmm.
ones. We turned them into ornaments,
I guess good.
and
Although my Nintendo tree is already overflowing, so I don't know.
oh,
Especially with these other ornaments that I got already. But it's not a bad
it's just an
idea.
idea.
It's get a bigger tree. It's problem solved.
Clearly.
Wait, I keep spending more money. This is the problem.
That's what happened to us with all the homework. We're phasing out a lot of the ones we made because every year there's like 7 or 8 new gaming Hallmark ornaments, and they just keep coming. So it's like soon it's gonna be like all that other stuff. We're gonna have a second tree just for all the ornaments we made.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. Let's go to the chat real quick and see if we missed anything over there. Looks like Logan is suggesting you play the Diablo 4 open beta, I think, if I'm getting context correct in that. And then Jakester says you got the Penguin Mario figure. He did show that off in our Discord, which is fun. And then Logan says never touched Diablo. I'm guessing Diablo 3. 5, the real cash loot shop kept me away, and I've installed the demo 2 or 3 times and then never played it just to uninstall it. And then they're expecting their 5th child this fall. That's another thing that's happened in the last few weeks. So congratulations, Logan and family. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations.
So cool. Well, we're expecting. Oh, that's you. Sorry. Barry's talking about it, how he's expecting us first, and I just saw the note come up in the chat, and I was like, "Wait, someone else is expecting." Wait, you guys already know that. We've talked about that in a past episode. Well, let's get into our discussions for tonight around news and everything, and it's really kind of a light week. Not a whole lot of big stuff that has happened, but our headlining news story that we're going to talk about tonight, we're just going to briefly talk about what the story is, and then kind of speculate a little bit and talk about the state of the gaming industry a little bit. But we found out that yet another game company has backed out of E3 2023. It's going to host. Ubisoft is going to be hosting their own event in June, because they said they've decided to move in a different direction when it comes to E3 this year. And this is a similar story than what we've been hearing from so many game companies, including Nintendo, that they have stepped out of E3 this year. And I don't know. I'm wondering, is this the end of E3? Are we going to keep seeing this from several other companies, or is E3 just going to radically change because it's just not what it used to be? I mean, Greg and I have been there before, and I know stepping into that hall with all the big name AAA titles, it was just overwhelming and huge, and overwhelming in a great way. Just awesome to be a part of, and without all these different big companies, and Ubisoft is just included in this. Like, so where do we think E3 is going in the future? Barry, any thoughts around this?
I think it really depends on what the ESA does after this year and how this year goes. I think if they position it to be a showcase for smaller titles, because E3 we always think about as the spectacle of the big names. But one of the biggest aspects of E3 that a lot of people forget about, or may not have even realized, is for smaller indie titles and indie developers, it got more exposure because people came for the big stuff. And when there was long lines in Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft and Activision, they walked around, they found the smaller stuff. And most importantly, the media was there. The media, not just gaming news, but USA Today had somebody there, and major news articles and magazines were there to cover it. So they got a lot of extra exposure that they wouldn't have normally had. So I think if E3 can transition to a show to highlight the smaller guys, because there's a lot of smaller studios. If you take out the big studios, there's way more smaller. And if they could do something like that, and if the big ones want to show up, great. That only helps the smaller. I think they'll be okay. Kind of like what PAX started. PAX was very much like that, and still is like that. And in many cases, the smaller studios are there, showing things off. PM Studios, Serenity Forge, Retroware, stuff like that. It really can benefit the industry if they say, well, if we can't get the big guys and we're going home and that's it, and then that's the end. And I think E3 has to transition to no longer being the big show, which unfortunately no more like the Christmas in June. It is going to just have to be another show where we'll get some news and information, but it's going to be on a lesser scale. That's my thoughts, at least.
Yeah, Greg, what do you think?
I mean, I would like to think that this is a one-off year, but it might be just time where people are, or like these like even Nintendo is starting to realize that like the expense of getting like a giant booth and having to decorate it with their fantastic stuff that like we got to see when me and you were there, and all these other times that they've been like went and had all these different shows. I think it just kind of more transitioned into it's just not really worth the extra cost for the exposure. I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of normally used to like the Nintendo Directs, and there's plenty of like news outlets that covers all of that information. So I think for Nintendo, like they didn't necessarily need to be doing E3 the like before COVID and whatnot. I think it was just more out of habit and everything. But you can totally tell over the last decade or whatever. I mean, they have scaled back. I mean, they used to have like fancy puppet shows and stuff for like their digital events, and they like added Treehouse Live and all this other stuff like that was like a very big thing. And before that, there was like the stage shows. So it's just seems like they've just keeps kind of been scaling back. And now with like COVID, it was a perfect excuse not to continue it going forward. But I mean, I've always really liked the show. I kind of will be feeling like kind of sad and lost without like the main presenters this year. I mean, that's always was great discussions for June for our podcasts and everything for all the different things that goes on there. But I mean, I kind of understand that like a lot of this stuff can be a lot easier to reach fans directly by just each company doing their own shows at their own times, and can just do them whenever they want to, and not just be tied for 3 days or like 5 days within June. So because a lot of that stuff kind of just started pushing back onto the weekend slowly over the last decade as well too. It wasn't just like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It became like, oh, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and like so. I mean, yes, it sucks, and I would like it to be around just more for the nostalgia and always hoping to go back. But I kind of understand it might just be more about the expense of it, and companies can just reach their fans more directly. And before joining NintendoFuse, I had always really wanted to go to E3, but that was a lot more of a media focused event. So, I mean, I do kind of understand like a lot of the fans could even go unless they were actually like journalists or had like a friend that was. So,
Yeah.
it just kind of stinks in that regard. But
Yeah.
if they had a more public event, maybe it could be back to where it was before. But then I don't know, that'd just be a heck of a lot of people going there for that then.
Yeah. Well, the big thing is, I mean, this year they are bringing back a part of it that is public. I know they've tried this in the past, and to various degrees of of success, I guess. But they're having gamer days in addition to industry days, and I'm wondering, with the company that's now leading it up, Reed Pop, I think it's what its name is. Like they've taken over like PAX and other events like that as well, and done very well with those events. I know people love PAX, and even in the chat we got Logan who's talking about how as a gamer he's never really cared for anything but from E3. he can't remember when he stopped caring, but he thinks PAX is all he needs, and then info from GDC. So events like PAX are doing well because it's so gamer centric, I think, and focused on the indies and focused on gamers and the experience that you have while you're there. But other events like GDC, which is similar, and in my mind, I put that in a similar vein to E3, seem to be still doing well. So why is E3 suffering more than others? And I don't know. What do you think, Barry? Any thoughts around there?
I think it's based on identity. So if you remember, PAX when it started was very different than PAX now. PAX started as kind of like a mini E3, and they've kind of transitioned into their own experience. And even PAX had its rocky points. There was, now there's really just PAX East and PAX, I think, West, right, or PAX South. One of them, I know one of them's gone now. So they had to go into find their identity, and I think with E3, its identity was big, big spectacle, the biggest show, and without, when Sony backed out, and then Microsoft, Nintendo, and now Ubisoft, without the big names, their identity is what? And I think that's what E3 needs to do, is they need to find their identity, because they relied so much on these big companies, this big spectacle, and they're losing that. I'm not saying they can't find their footing, which is why I was saying before, it needs, in my opinion, it needs to kind of transition to more just a place that smaller games can show, kind of like what Play NYC does. But on a grander scale than Play NYC, that's more New York-based developers. Do it, developers all over the world. Let it open, let it be affordable, let it be accessible. Because if you look today versus 10 years ago, the amount of developers is just growing. It's just growing, and development houses are splitting, into two new houses. The amount of games we get every single week, we always cover it. It's insane, and all we're covering is the Switch stuff. That's not even covering the games for PlayStation or Xbox only, or PC, or Oculus, or whatever else, Meta Quest, or whatever they are. Like, it's insane the amount of games that we have. We're spoiled. But because of that, the games are also cannibalizing each other, because there's not enough time to play everything or experience. And there's a lot of things that go under the radar. A lot of games like, oh, wait, I've never even heard of this. This came out, or what is this? This looks amazing. How did I not hear about this? We hear it all the time. Everybody does, because it's impossible to know everything. So I think that's what they need to do. They need to find their identity, and they need to grow into it, and they need to find their niche. And their niche was big, not anymore. Sony, I don't even think Sony does their own thing. They used to have like the PlayStation Experience, where they did stuff for a while in California. I don't think they've done that for a while. They've gotten arrogant, and Microsoft has kind of went to Nintendo's route, and they do the Microsoft Bethesda showcases themselves. Nintendo's been doing the directs, and even now they stated there won't be one in June, right? They stated like they won't have anything. Like, we've grown accustomed to that June direct for well over a decade of it there being something there, and now we know there's nothing. So it's like, wow, that's the silence is deafening there. Ubisoft has been doing the Ubisoft Forwards for a while, and that's what they're doing. Let's just do that. Let's just not have a stage presence. More and more. EA has EA Play, I think it is. They have all these new showcases for everybody that, and it's funny, because when Nintendo first did the direct, everyone was like, what the hell, Nintendo, right? Like, everyone started mocking them. Oh, you're not even going to be there. You're not really part of it. You're not have a stage show. And now everybody followed Nintendo.
Yep.
Just ahead of the game, which is unusual for them.
Unusual for them, yeah.
That's like the one thing they are ahead of the game on.
Yeah.
Although I missed it, like the treehouse. I think that's something they should focus on, because like 3 days of the treehouse, that was great. But here's the thing: they need stuff to show off. And what do they have past Zelda? We don't know. And without a direct in June, they might not have much of anything past Zelda, really.
That's true.
We do know Pikmin 4.
Pikmin 4.
That's in July.
But still, we know it already, so it's not gonna have a whole showcase. They might do a playhouse or a treehouse of it, but still, you need stuff to bring to the table, and we don't know what they have.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we know pretty much what we're getting for most of summer. I mean,
Yeah,
summers are normally a little bit drier on the releases, and there's not always like tons of games coming out because of just more people are being outside than opposed to playing video games. So it's I think that's just been a natural part of the curve, and then we'll just get the next direct in whatever August or September like we have been getting. So there might be like a game drop here or there, but I think we pretty much know what to expect all through like July, pretty much.
which is
Mm.
more of a reason for them to not bother with E3.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it does seem like with E3 was really the defining part of the gaming year. I mean, you referred to it earlier. It's kind of it's that Christmas time for gamers that we had,
Yeah,
and 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 it was such a big deal for us here at Nintendo Fuse, but so many other gaming publishing companies and journalists and everything were just kind of centered around E3, and I think, COVID and everything else, helped kind of start to kill that off. But it seems like Nintendo leading, like you said, leading the pack unusually, has really pioneered this digital event, and so many other companies have followed suit. And with them pulling out of E3, it's like we can release these anytime we really want, and we've almost seen that play with other companies that are outside of the gaming world, like Google and Apple and Microsoft, and their non-gaming announcements and stuff will just have random announcements throughout the year, and some of
yeah.
them have some sort of pattern to them, but they're not tied down to one event that like they always have been, whether it be digital or in person. And so have we lost anything with that routine calendar? Everybody's glued to their computers or their phones like they used to around E3, and just waiting until the next announcement is there? Or is it okay to have those kind of trickle out throughout the whole year?
I think it really depends on what you like, right? Like if you get your kid, Christmas is so magical if you celebrate because you have that one big festival, the big day of getting presents. If you had Hanukkah, you had that week, the 8 days to look forward to of getting presents, and it became like a pillar. It became almost like that driving force to get you through the day. Like as a kid, it was like, oh, I got to get through the school year, but oh, December's coming up and we have 3 more weeks till Christmas, and that helped you push forward. It was something to look forward to. And as adults, the same thing. So I think in terms of that, we lost, but overall, I think we've gained more because we were talking last time about like level 5 did a presentation. Level 5 normally wouldn't get that. They would, maybe be a part of like the Nintendo Direct, show off some games, but now they had the ability, the kind of the stage set for them to present their own games their own way. And if you wanted to watch it, you got to do it, and you could watch it later on. And more of these smaller studios and smaller publishing does, like Wonderful Games does a direct with all their games. East Asia Soft does their showcases for their games. Even a premium edition, we do our own directs to showcase what we have. It allows everybody to really get that voice and to control the narrative, most importantly. The other thing with live shows is things can happen, and we've had so many great terrible things that have happened during live shows. Whereas if it's a pre-recorded broadcast, you can control a script, you can control what's shown off in the footage and everything, and make sure it's perfect. So I think as much as I love E3, and I still love E3, and I love that whole the Christmas in June, and the sitting there and watching like 8 showcases a day and like having it all centered around, I'm okay with it being spread out because we're getting more showcases overall that way.
Hmm. Hmm.
I mean, I do agree that it's kind of nice to have it more spread out and just be able to see the news, but I even feel like Nintendo's kind of like stepped back a little bit because I know like we've always have like the January February direct for like the first part of the year, and then we had pretty much a guaranteed direct previously like for June, and then we also had like the September one, so it was like almost like a routine like schedule that we had like 3 a year for like at least a decade or so that they were doing it, like started those. So Um, so without like one in the summer, now I feel like we're taking a step back and getting one less direct. And so, it'd be nice to have a little bit more like focused in that regard, or have more announcements in each one. But it's, I certainly feel like that's gonna be like the less is more kind of thing in that regard. But
I think this is an anomaly. I think we're going to have summer directs still. I think if you look historically at Nintendo, if you look at their transition years, because we have to look at 2023 into 2024 as a transition year. And what I mean by that is it's going to be transitioning to the new system. They're definitely working on a new system. And if you look at like 2001, let's say, when you went from the N64 to the GameCube, the N64 had like 6, 7 releases. Like 2 of them, I think, are from Nintendo. Like it was really heavy in early on, and then nothing, a big drought until November when the GameCube launched, and then there was stuff. It was very very light because they didn't have a lot to show. And if you look at the GameCube 2005 to or 2006, from the GameCube to the Switch, or to the Wii, I mean, the same thing. It was very very light. And you look at the Wii at the 2012 to the Wii U, same thing. And then the 2017, 2016, 20, in fact 2016 was like, we had the whole game of the year where we were joking because there was like nothing for the Wii U on the 2016. It was a year before the Switch. Uh, I think that's exactly what we're seeing again. So I think this is historically Nintendo accurate, where we're seeing a lot of stuff early on. Right, we had Fire Emblem Engage, we've got Bayonetta, we've got Advance Wars, we got Kirby, and then we have Zelda and Pikmin, and we're gonna see trickle till whatever comes, the end of the year. If anything comes out, Metroid Prime we had. So that's what you're seeing. So this is pretty historically Nintendo, and it doesn't surprise me that we're not getting a summer direct, because I think they're focusing on this big blowout. And what's going to happen is later on this year, we're going to get another Nintendo Direct. That's either going to be, here's a bunch of Switch games, or we're announcing the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 or whatever they're going to call it, and here's a bunch of games. And it's going to be this big blowout event. And it's going to be like, okay, now we understand why you had nothing to show. You were waiting for this big blowout event. It was worth the wait. Or they're going to come out with a Nintendo Direct and go, all we've got is Disney Princess Party and Hello Kitty, and thanks for tuning in. Please look forward to it. And we're going to be like, wow, you have nothing to show for it. There's definitely a new system on the on the way.
you forgot about Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival too.
Oh yeah, I got to throw
It's the
that in
game of the
there.
year for 2024.
So I think we will see summer directs. They may not be necessarily June. It may be a May. It may be a July, or even in August. But I do think we're going to see. I don't. Maybe not August, but I do think we're going to see summer directs come back. I think this is just one of those years where they're clearly putting their focus on Zelda. That's their pillar. And historically, look at how did the Wii U end? What was the big thing? Oh, Breath of the Wild. How did the GameCube end? Oh, it was Twilight Princess. Oh, these are all transitional games. That was it. You know. So I think we're gonna see that again. Even the Wii, the Wii actually died with Operation Rainfall, right? Like at least in America, Xenoblade was one of the last games, and we got it a year after everybody else. It was like, well, there's nothing for the Wii, so let's throw that out there as something. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, the Wii like never seemed to die. It was still getting games all into the Wii U life cycle. So
Well, it was getting Just Dance. That was about it.
Yeah, pretty sure Barry went you just still buying the Just Dance for Wii into the beginning of the Switch life cycle, I think.
2020, I think, was the last
Yeah.
one.
So hey, it's still selling. Might as well put it out there.
It was on the Wii. It lasted on the Wii than the rest of the Wii U. I think it was 2019 was the last one on Wii U, I think.
Nice.
So that's pretty funny.
Nice. I like how we brought it full circle back to Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Speaking of this Ubisoft Direct, any thoughts about what we might be seeing? I haven't seen any rumors or anything like that about what they could be showing off, but you guys hoping for anything specific from Ubisoft?
Beyond Good and Evil 2, does it exist?
Kind of forgot about that. I think Ubisoft did too.
And the Prince of Persia remake, the Sands of Time remake, that was supposed to be coming out like I think 2 years ago or something like that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I've kind of fallen off the Ubisoft bandwagon, but maybe like something with like Rayman or something, and that'd be a good guess for me, or maybe more like Mario and Rabbids DLC. I don't know.
Yeah. When I was talking with the I think it was the producer or associate producer of the new Mario and Rabbids game, I kind of asked about future stuff with Rayman or kind of future things with Mario and Rabbids, and he was very tight-lipped. But I don't know. Maybe no news and not willing to share anything. It means something is coming. But he was very, very tight-lipped about any of those questions. So we do know that the Rayman DLC for Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope will be coming out this year. And so I can't remember the dates on that, if that's going to be before or after that the Ubisoft event. So if it's after, if we haven't seen anything from it, I'm sure they'll show off that for sure.
That's another thing about this year is definitely very heavy with Nintendo DLC. You have Splatoon 3 getting DLC, you have Fire Emblem Engage getting DLC, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, Xenoblade 3 DLC, trickling on throughout the year. And I think they're riding that. I think they're riding those games DLC packs and content to keep the year going, like to pad out the year, so to speak.
As well. Yeah.
I mean, it's also probably safe to make an assumption that Tears of the Kingdom might even have DLC as well too. I mean, they announced like the Breath of the Wild DLC like pretty much just before the game launched. So, I mean, we still have a few months coming up here until May, and we
might find out tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. Could even be finding that out as early as tomorrow.
Go in the chat. Looks like Jakester says, and then they have still Skull and Bones is another game we have not seen much from. And also Hiwada in the chat says they like to see Splinter Cell, Spies vs. Mercs, and Assassin's Creed multiplayer to return as well. So we will find out. And that's the thing, I guess, like I said, the downside is not having, the E3 moments, new and loved, but at the same time, not having that means we could get surprise announcements tomorrow or, who knows when. And new games could just pop up at any moment. And Nintendo loves to do that sort of thing. In fact, we've got another one that we're going to talk about a little bit later in our headlines. Something's going to happen tomorrow on March 28th. But before we get into that headline, let's turn our attention to a rumor. And we've got some reports coming out about a certain game that might be remastered. Greg, you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so making the rounds last week, it's been reported that Level 5 is working on a remake of F-Zero GX, or like a remaster of it. So that was that was the last released actual F-Zero game on the GameCube, and they had previously worked on like the Luigi's Mansion series and everything. So pretty much it was this has been like a long time rumor dating all the way back to Christmas time, like last year. So, I mean, like at least 3 months ago. So, I don't know what you guys think of it, if there's any credibility here, and also to kind of extend it. I mean, if there's any games that you think that could be remade or remastered from like previous like hardware or whatever, like any thoughts on what games you'd like to see get that kind of treatment as well too. So, I mean, Steve, if you want to see what your thoughts are on the F-Zero and any games you might want to offer up to be remade or remastered.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense that they have not done anything with F-Zero. No sense at all. So if they're going to remake it, great. I would rather have a new game, honestly. However, GX is a fantastic game. If they want to remaster it and bring it out, awesome. I think it's the same as like Metroid Prime. sure, remaster it, make it for Switch, fantastic. But let's see Metroid Prime 4. Let's like, so I think that's still my thoughts around this too. I would love to be able to play GX in modern upscaled graphics, bring it online for sure. I think games like that, you're gonna have to have a steady online for sure, because glitches and lag would be really annoying in the game like F-Zero. But yeah, like bring it on for sure. As far as other games, I don't really know. Like I think, I mean, when I think back to my GameCube days, I think back to a time where I was starting out as a independent gamer, because I was in college and I was finally buying my own systems, buying my own games, and therefore I did not have very many games at all for GameCube. And the games that I had were like Wind Waker, games like Smash Brothers Melee and Double Dash. Like, and I think of those games, I'm sure it'd be great to see some of those remastered and everything, but I think it would be great to bring back a Double Dash esque thing, possibly in some DLC for 8 Deluxe. Or could we see a mode, not forcing it on everybody because not everybody liked the 2-person cart thing in Double Dash, but could we see a mode of Double Dash like things in the next Mario Kart? But as far as like the games themselves, man, I had so few games on GameCube that like I can't think of anything honestly that just shouts at me, "Hey, remake this again," that hasn't been remade already. Like Resident Evil 4, we have on every system under the sun. Things like that. Super Mario Sunshine, we've already had remade kind of. So
Ported kind of deal.
ported.
Ported.
Luigi's Mansion, it's a great game, but the ones that I played the most, like they've either already remade or they've improved upon that franchise as they've gotten older, and which means like I don't necessarily want to go back and play the original Luigi's Mansion. It was a great game, but the ones since then have improved so much that I don't really care about going back, and even if they remastered it, I wouldn't play it.
What about you, Barry? Any games that you recommend for remake, and also any?
I mean, there's a ton that I think should be. I think one of the things that sucks is when a game is locked to a console that is, there's no forward compatibility with it. There's no way to go play that. So if you wanted to play a GameCube game, you needed a Wii or a GameCube, and that's it. And being so far divorced from that, we're over a decade since the Wii died, and so many of those GameCube games are getting very expensive. It's nice to have that easier accessibility brought over. So I agree. I think we should have some games. F-Zero would be great. Make have the AX courses right there, so you don't have to use a Game Shark or to unlock things. I think Eternal Darkness, that needs to.
I was
That
just
needs.
pulling up a list of GameCube games, and I was
Yeah.
like, "How did I forget Eternal Darkness?" Okay,
Eternal Dark. I'm
that's
not.
the one. That's the one I want back.
I'm
That's
not
it
even a
right
horror
there.
fan, and I loved Eternal Darkness. I'd love to see that back. Um, there's other ones, of course. The Wii U. We talked about all the Wii U ports. Xenoblade X needs to. I would put Bait and Kados on this list, but we just got that, so I'm like, oh, that's coming, cool. I think we should. I would like to see some more compilations too. Pikmin 1 and 2. Let's get the whole Pikmin series on there. Like I don't see a reason. Metroid Prime 2 and 3, of course. Get those on there. Like bring everything on. I'm a big fan of having all those. Even Luigi's Mansion. They remade it for the 3DS. Well, that's great, but bring Luigi's Mansion 1 and 2 uh to the Switch. Like bring those. And then I'd love to see, since we have this new HD 2D thing going on with games like Octopath and the upcoming Dragon Quest 3, that's so beautiful. I'd love to see some NES and Super Nintendo games just remade that way. Like Dragon Quest 3 is one that's having that, but like imagine them taking Star Tropics and doing a two-pack and remaking both games like that. Like that would be great. Like let's see that. Let's see games we've never had before. Over here. Look at what they did with Famicom Detective Club, right? They took two games that we've never had, and they remade it entirely. Like I want to see more of that. I want to see them breach into their catalog, uh, and bring them to new life. So there's a ton of games. Earthbound, of course, is one of them. Like do it, get Mother 3 over, or give us Earthbound 64, what the original Mother 3, to go back and finish. I would love to see doing GX. I would love to see F-Zero X come over, but with the expansion
Mm.
cups. Like because the 64DD expansion disc actually added tracks. In addition to the track editor and the car editor, there were tracks that were exclusive, and you can play them if you have a Japanese 64 with a Japanese 64DD with the expansion disc and the Japanese copy of F-Zero X. Great, and with emulation and stuff you could do it, but like legally, like easily accessible. I want to see that come out. It's funny too because they added Mario 3 on the GBA, and it had all the e-reader card levels, which was great because so few people played them. And I think that was just because it existed on the Wii U. But they also brought over F-Zero X, but they didn't bring that stuff over. Like it's not a complete game. That to everybody else it's a brand new thing. SimCity 64, same thing. Like that was Nintendo made. Bring that over. So
Mm.
I'm a big pro port and remake and letting new people, because if you've already played it, then you don't have to play it. There's a billion other games, but so few people have experienced some of these games, and
Mm-hmm.
to give a new audience to them and even relive. Look at Metroid Prime, right? That was still more accessible. They had a Wii re-release. It was on Wii U as well. And now it's like here it is again, and people are experiencing it for the first time with the dual analog and the hacks and stuff. People are able to do that, online on the PC legally, but now we have a legal, easily accessible plug and play, and people are experiencing the first Metroid Prime, which is great. I agree. I think we need more. Bring them all over. Double Dash, I'd like to see that as a mode. I don't think Double Dash as itself should be ported over because most of those tracks are in Mario Kart 8
Mm-hmm.
Deluxe anyway. But I do agree. Like I hate cut content. Put that as a mode. Make it accessible. Make it options
Yep.
for everyone.
Yeah. One of the things you mentioned, Barry, was like bringing games and kind of like remastering them in this HD 2D sort of thing. And I immediately thought of Four Swords Adventure. Like,
Oh
how cool
yeah.
would that be? Bringing in there, and if you need to tweak it, you can. But being able to play like 4 players online, co-op with friends, having
Yeah.
that element brought in there too. But in this new HD 2D sort of style could be really cool as well.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Zelda game stuck to the GameCube.
Yep. I mean, all those are great choices as well. I mean, I just also wanted to throw out there. I mean, I know they did Star Fox 64 3D, and they actually revealed just to kind of see if like they're still interested in maintaining the Star Fox series in general. I think actually, if there is any weight behind F-Zero GX, it would kind of show, hey, there is still a really big interest in F-Zero, and then maybe they can actually kind of try to see where they can go from there. But obviously, it all ultimately depends on all the different paints and bells and whistles that they put on it, and if it can actually have like a stable online player, like online play, that would be great as well. But I know it does. If it's so high speed, they really can't have all the lag and stuff. That would really be very detrimental to the game. And didn't like that. Like wasn't there like that a Neo Space Race game that was like a Switch launch title or a Wii U game or something that was basically like a
Oh yeah.
spiritual successor to F-Zero or something that did
Mm-hmm.
really good. So, I mean,
Wait, are
I do
you talking Excite Bytes?
No,
No,
Oh, you're talking Fast RMX.
that's it.
maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on the. That one's not. I think that one's Wii U only, but Fast Racing Neo, the sequel, is on the Switch.
Yeah.
Or what verse? Maybe it's the other way around. One of them's on the Switch
Yeah.
already. One.
And it did well. So
It's got
Yeah.
a physical too from Super Rare. They did a physical for it.
So that would be really great to see if they did that. And like a few games I thought of that would be awesome for remakes, kind of going on like the eShop ending, just to kind of do like the fluidity kind of series, because like the Joy-Cons would be perfect for manipulating that little puddle of water eddy around the levels. And I think that would be really great to be able to keep that series alive. Another one I know that's very popular would be like Soul Calibur 2, because it had like Link in it, and how awesome that would be to see him more like a Breath of the Wild costume, or even
Actually, I heard a rumor that Soul Calibur 2 is getting remade as well. Again, it's a rumor, but I don't know if Link will come in, and they might just keep it like Necron and Spawn or something like that, or Hitachi or something for that last spot.
I never even heard that rumor, so that's very much of a coincidence, because I was just
No.
kind of thinking of games.
Nice.
And I actually did maybe even consider Sunshine to be possibly remade, because I know it's like super glitchy. There's lots of problems. It was kind of rushed, and just because the GameCube wasn't doing the best, I think if it actually was kind of more remade, like they could probably do a lot more with having updated controls and
Mhm.
just having things handled much better. But
Yeah.
I don't, yeah.
Jakester says as long as they don't make another Star Fox Zero, he'll be interested. I am totally with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Greg, I'm
that's another one.
surprised-
Star Fox
okay.
Zero should be
Yeah.
brought over.
Oh, totally.
Fixed
For sure.
fixed.
Just fix the control.
Yep.
Yeah. Greg, I'm surprised you didn't mention Simpsons Hit and Run.
That
on
would be
Nintendo, though.
great as well, but that's not really a mainline Nintendo series kind of game or featured, and I would love that, to be honest, but I don't think they really ever remake the Simpsons games or whatever.
Yeah.
I know like the arcade game is still very much intact, and they keep bringing like that. I think they even made like their new arcade cabinet for it and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
it would be really great to have Hit and Run. I mean, there's quite a number of games I would absolutely love and would easily buy again, but I don't know if they necessarily deserve like a HD treatment, like even like
You know
Mario
what would be
Baseball, one of my
good?
favorites. But
They should do Wave Race and 1080. Bring those back. They're
Mm.
both had GameCube entries.
That's
they're
true.
getting the 64 NSO has Wave Race 64 and 1080 on the way, but get the GameCube Blue Storm and Avalanche.
Those would be fun for sure. Speaking of which, just looking over some games and everything. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think just as of a couple hours ago, rumors have started to spread that Skies of Arcadia is the next
Oh,
RPG to be
thank
remade.
God. Oh, it's such a good game. Again, trapped to the Dreamcast and the GameCube. So few people have played this. It's another classic.
Yep. So apparently, yeah, back in 2021, Sega mentioned that they were going to be bringing back dormant IPs, and so that's the latest rumor, and a lot of different sites are covering that right now, and so maybe that's the
I
next one.
I remember when the
Nintendo really
Sonic
needs to
and what was that?
bring back. I was saying Nintendo needs to bring back their own dormant IPs.
Yes,
So
they do.
true.
I remember it was like Sonic and All Star Racing Transforms. They had Vice from Skies of Arcadia as a racer, and everyone we were like, "Oh my God! Like you're acknowledging Skies of Arcadia exists? Bring that back!" But oh my God, Jakester, I honestly never heard of Skies of Arcadia until like 2019. That saddens me so much. That's such a good game. I mean, the GameCube version is the best version. It has like the added content that was like Japanese exclusive or with the VMU and stuff. But yeah, bring that back.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. There's so many games that are lost on the newer generation. Like I was having this conversation with my wife a couple weeks ago about our son. Like he's getting born into a world with 4 decades plus worth of games that he's never played. And then on top of that, by the time he starts playing games, how many more added on? Like it'll be really impossible, but there's so many of these games and he, I'm fortunate enough to be able to say I could hook up the GameCube and put the Wii. I could boot up Skies of Arcadia now easily, and other people can too, but so few people can. And just to have it all on one system, or at least all on modern systems, it just makes it that much more accessible. And I think we really need that because more and more games are being lost or damaged or destroyed and not backed up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is why we need backwards compatibility, these guys.
Yeah, there's that rumor that the next Switch isn't going to be backwards compatible, and I'm like, what? No, Nintendo, that would be really bad right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go to the chat real quick. Looks like Highwild S says the remake he most wants is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time from the Wii and
Yeah,
DS.
that's a good one.
I had a lot of fun. I don't know if I've played that one, but the Crystal Chronicles games that I have played are really fun. But I can't remember if I played that one or
They
not.
remade the first one from the GameCube, and it did not do as well. Cause I didn't play it, but I heard the remake wasn't as good, and I think that might have killed Crystal Bears or Echoes of Time or any of those other ones coming back.
Mm.
And that was ambitious too, because it was Wii and DS. They went, and I think the cross play or cross talk to each other or something. Could be misremembering.
Oh yeah, that's true. That was one of the first games that did that well on Nintendo. Maybe the first one ever. I'm not sure. Jakester also says he's all against porting Zero altogether. Just stay away from it, even if they fix the controls. Just stay away from it.
No, Jakester, you're wrong.
I don't know, like, because it's really just. I mean, it's essentially just a remake, a retelling of the story, right? Just like that's
it's a retelling of Star Fox 64, which is a retelling of Star Fox.
Right. So I'm kind of with him. Just like let's make a new Star Fox story, or better yet, just release a sequel to Starlink and focus more on Star Fox and just run with that. Just
maybe
run
we'll
with
see
it.
something from Ubisoft, right?
Maybe.
Oh, Starlink was so good, and again, no one played it,
Mm-hmm.
and they treated the Star Fox IP so well there.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope I could really want them to like remaster like Kid Icarus Uprising. I had so much fun with that game.
Yeah, it's another one.
I think that would be excellent on Switch and be able to remove like the stylus controls and just have more traditional ones, and it would be fantastic.
You don't like holding your hand like in an awkward, weird play thing. Playing your video games.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, in the middle of the level, you have to like turn the DS on its side. And
well, there are some other games like Hotel Dusk that did that on the DS, and the sequel that we never got over here in the States. Those are Nintendo. Like
that's true.
Like bring those over. Like there's so many games that are
Well,
just
now you
lost.
think about it, like so, I'm thinking, level 5 with bringing a new Layton game. Let's bring over the old ones. Like bring them over to Switch.
Yeah,
like put them in a collection or something like that. Yeah,
they should. They did it with his granddaughter or the niece or whatever. That was a 3DS game. They ported that to the Switch. So bring the others. Bring it, like you said, a collection. Absolutely, make it accessible.
Yep.
Not everybody has DSs or 3DSs. They're getting expensive now, especially 3DSs are getting really expensive. Yeah.
Maybe that's make some money back from Hot Wheels.
I mean, like $200 plus still for a 3DS, and it's only going up.
Wow. Well,
is the Ambassador one worth a lot more?
Yeah, Ambassador ones are worth a hell of a lot more. If you have the Ambassador certificate, they're worth a lot of money.
Well, then maybe I'm gonna have to do some research. That's I'm gonna buy my Switch Pro. Oh boy. Well, we got some that's for our big stories for this episode, but we got some headlines we want to cover and make sure that you guys know what's going on in the world of Nintendo and third parties and all the other things that are going on. So I think Greg's going to kick us off with something a little special that's going to happen in just about a couple weeks from here, or just 1 week. Am I off? I think it's next week. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it is next week.
Yeah, this is really coming up really fast. So if you've got tickets to see the new Mario Brothers movie, just like I do, you can, instead of stomping on some Koopas, you can stomp your popcorn cravings and get a special Mario-themed popcorn bucket. So if you're really interested, make sure to try to look for them while supplies last, because they'll probably be limited time only.
Yeah, well, speaking of limited time, there's so many of these games now have these like early access. Multiverses just went off, but there's another early access game coming to the Switch right now, and that is Disney Speedstorm. If you get the Founders Pack, you'll be one of the first to hit the tracks when the game launches an early access for the Switch on April 18th.
And so we alluded to this earlier, but we're going to be getting a special video with Legend of Zelda series producer AJ Aonuma. Roughly 10 minutes of gameplay is going to be shown off of Tears of the Kingdom on March 28th at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So as we're recording this, it will be just under 12 hours, so 11 hours from now as of recording. But we're going to be able to watch 10 minutes of gameplay from Aonuma himself, and that's going to be over on Nintendo's YouTube channel.
On our last podcast, we had talked about like the Mario Day stuff, or even 2 podcasts ago, but there's like a wave 2 of some of the sales that go through April 7th. So if there's some awesome Mario titles that you don't have for your digital collection, you can be sure to check out either Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Super Mario Maker 2, one of my personal favorites, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, and there's also another edition of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that has like the Booster Course pack you can get as well. So Steve's got the video on screen with the percentage discounts. You can save some good money on those games if you don't have those on your system yet.
Oh, and just to piggyback on that, also, you can get the FIFA 23 Legacy Edition on the free game sale or game trial sale there on Nintendo Switch Online. That's important to let people know as well. Yeah, I've downloaded just because it's free, but yeah, that's what it's worth. It's free.
It's worth free. One last thing I threw on there, just because I feel we should at least make notice of it tonight. We gotta toast one out to the Nintendo Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS eShops. They died today at approximately 8 p.m. Eastern. They officially went down, and all those digital only titles are gone. All that updates are gone. All those DLC are gone, and that's it. I hope you got your last purchases in, but they're gone.
So sad. Yep. If you have not checked out our last episode, I think it was, we talked about our recommendations for all of those. But yeah, unfortunately, if you missed out, you missed out. So that's all happened already today. But
yeah, you were talking about the latent games, and like the big ones, Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney 5 and 6 were iOS and 3DS only and digital only, and now the only way to play 2 major games in a big franchise is through iOS now. That's it. Like, there's no physical release. They've never been ported. That's it. And those are major releases. That would be like, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were like gone. You couldn't play them anymore from the Zelda, unless you play like a crappy touch screen iPhone version. Like, it's sad, and that's it. Like, all these hardworking developers that their livelihood, they spent all this time on this game, they put it out there, and they were at least making some money off of it, gone. Nintendo's just like, nope, you're not making any more money ever from this.
It's true. It's true. Well, yeah, Greg, any further thoughts about any of these headline stories?
Yeah, that popcorn tin sounds kind of intriguing. I mean, I'll see if they have it there when I go on Friday, but that might be even too late to go at that point because it's already 2 days after the first release of the movie. But I'll definitely be keeping my eyes peeled for it. The Disney Speedstorm stuff, that sounds kind of interesting. I think I would remember seeing that in the January or February direct, and I think that sounded somewhat interesting. So I might have to check that out. Unfortunately, I don't really want to have to watch the Zelda thing tomorrow because I want to have more. I'd like to go more into it blind, but we'll probably be talking about it on our next podcast. So I'll have to still tune in to watch it. And yeah, I think my girlfriend took advantage of some of the Mario Day sales because she was got a new Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe and wanted to play online and discovered that one doesn't play online. So, oops. And yeah, I almost had put that Wii U 3DS thing on there, but I knew it just happened right before the podcast. But it obviously kind of stinks. I think you can still like re-download certain games or
Yes.
something. You just can't like add extra money or use your credit card to make purchases. I think like the next deadline is in like August or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you could do now, I think, is re-download games you've already bought, and that's it. You can't even download DLC to games you already own. So, like, if you put in Fire Emblem Fates, even the physical, you can't download the DLC that they added. All that DLC is gone.
Oh, the DLC. I
Like,
didn't realize the DLC was gone too.
yeah, DLC
I
is
thought it
gone
was
too.
just purchasing new stuff.
That's considered purchasing, but yeah, it's a DLC is
Even
gone.
if you've already purchased it, you can
Then you could
re-download it.
re-download it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
all those that added content, so even like the collector's edition of Fire Emblem Fates that has all 3 games, it's missing that DLC. That DLC's gone.
Bummer.
Like it's it. Like so that would be great for them to re-release it with all of that to preserve it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, Barry, any further thoughts about any of the rest of the stories?
The bucket sounds cool, but I'm gonna be seeing it at AMC, so Sandmark is not gonna help me there. Disney Speedstorm looks good. It's a Gameloft game, and they did Asphalt, and I really enjoy Asphalt, so it has potential. My only weird thing is I'm not big into games with service. Like I do a few like Pokemon Unite I'm doing, but I've seen so many of these games just end service. Like right now, like I alluded to Multiverses. They're done with the beta. They just out of nowhere they didn't tell everybody. They're like, nope, we're done with the game right now. It will relaunch next year. They took it off even for paid customers. Gone. Like just that's it. Done. Like I don't like when games could just disappear if I'm putting real money into it. Unless it's like, $5 here, $10 here, whatever. But like if I purchase a game, I want to be able to always be able to play it to the best of my ability. So I might check it out, but it does look good. I'll wait for reviews. As for the Tears of the Kingdom thing, I'm in the same boat as Greg. Like I'm already sold in the game. I don't need to see it. But at the same time, we haven't seen a lot of gameplay for it yet, so I'm kind of intrigued just to whet my appetite. Plus, there's always the rumors, and I know Jared's in here now. He and I were talking a little earlier before the show. Possibly that OLED, Switch, the Zelda Switch will be announced because we all thought it was going to be at the last Direct, and it wasn't. So maybe it's going to be announced here. So wanna definitely be on the know with that. As for the Mario Day Wave 2 stuff, I buy the games physical, so I have those games. But if you are a digital gamer and you haven't played any of those games, they're all excellent. Absolutely all excellent. And as for the death of the Wii U and the 3DS eShops, it saddens me, and that's why I'm against digital only. I'm not against digital, but I'm against digital only because of things like this. Because this is the state of the gaming industry, and losing these titles is terrible. And yeah, yes, technically you could hack your system and you could get it that way, but we shouldn't have to resort to illegal hacking to be able to play games. And those developers don't get any money from this at this point, so they lose their revenue. And a lot of it's not going to hurt Nintendo, or it's not going to hurt Ubisoft, but it's going to hurt the little guy. It's going to hurt the smaller the developers, and especially with how friendly Nintendo was with the indies and still is. They encourage, please put your game on our system, for them to not be able to recoup any money. It saddens. And even games that have gotten ported, sometimes like the Wii U version was different because of the gamepad. That particular version of the game is gone.
Yeah, I know we've talked before about about the how friendly they've been with indies and stuff like that. Have you guys heard anything about how they've approached any developers or anybody about porting those over? Have they been proactive at all about getting those games?
Not
I
to
guess
my knowledge.
they were proactive in getting them in the beginning, but I wonder.
The developers I've talked with haven't stated that Nintendo's done anything.
I mean, that would be my comment to your thing before, like, oh, bring your game over to our system. Oh, but then now we have a new system. Why don't you retool it completely? Because we'll just completely change the OS. So then you have to completely remodel and remake your entire game again. And oh, by the way, let's release another version of this the hardware, and now you got to remake it a
Well,
third time. It's like,
not only that, you still have to get approved because I have a friend who was making a game, great game, for the 3DS and the Wii U, and then the Switch was coming out, and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna focus on the Switch then," and he contacted Nintendo and said, "I'd like a dev unit so I could port the game to the Switch," and he was denied. He was denied. He had the 3DS and the Wii U, but he was denied for the Switch. So he said, "Screw it, I'm taking my game to Xbox and PlayStation then because you're going to deny me." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" So it's not even a guarantee. It's not even a, "Oh, well, you can just bring it to Switch." You still have to apply, and they still have to get approved. And for whatever reason, he wasn't. And that maybe because the game didn't come out in the Wii U and the 3DS. But it's not his fault that Nintendo was like, "Here, we're moving on to the Switch at this point."
That's too
but I
bad.
mean, even if you were to release it in the last year or so, I mean, it's wouldn't have got a whole lot of traction. I mean, I know there
Yeah.
were still some 3DS games kind of trickling out, like in the first 2 years of the Switch's life cycle, but I can't imagine them selling much. I mean, that's kind of what happened with the Mario and Luigi series. They were remaking those, and those are Nintendo IP, and they were very abysmal numbers because this 3DS was already well on its deathbed because the Switch was already out. So
Yep. Exactly. So that's the horror of it all, and that's really where digital only is the biggest negative because these games are lost.
Yeah.
And these and even DLC, like I think games should be re-released as complete versions, because there's so much great DLC out there that it will eventually just be gone. And you may have played it and say, "Oh, I'm not going to care about playing it in 10 years." And maybe, your circle group may not care about playing it for 10 years, but that doesn't mean everyone's not going to care about playing it in 10 years, especially people who were born now, who are like, "Hey, I'm going to get into Fire Emblem." Like, if like 10 years old, so 10 years from now my son's suddenly like, "Oh, I really like Fire Emblem. I want to go back and play all the Fire Emblem games." There's content that he can't. It's just gone because I didn't buy the DLC. And that sucks because he's now not going to be able to get the full experience, nor is anybody else. Breath of the Wild in Japan, they actually, for those that don't know, they actually re-released Breath of the Wild with the DLC on physical. And it not only is it in English, but it will read your English data. So if you have the English version, you can put this in and it will take that save and you can boot it up. And it is the physical version of the Breath of the Wild DLC, which is great. They didn't release it in America, which sucks, but at least it exists in some case because otherwise that DLC is gone. And the
True.
Wii U version of that DLC is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Only the Switch
Yeah.
version of that DLC now exists.
I wonder if they'll announce that tomorrow.
I doubt it.
Probably not, but who knows?
I mean, I was just like watching like a random video on YouTube, like I think over the weekend or whatever, but it was like covering like new Super Mario Brothers 2. I mean, they had all those awesome coin packs of
Yep.
all those exclusive levels, and those are now completely going to be gone. So I know there was that impossible pack that are some of the hardest Mario courses ever created by Nintendo, and those are just, if anyone wanted to actually try those, they're just
Gone.
no longer in existence.
That's why when New Super Mario U Deluxe came out, I was saddened because I really wanted it to be New Super All Stars instead, and they could have brought 2 over with all that DLC, and it would have been preserved. And they still could. I mean, I think they should. But you're right. That's Nintendo first party DLC. Mario Golf on the 3DS had like some really good DLC, I believe. I'm not a golf gamer, but I heard it was really good DLC. Gone. It's lost at this point, and it's official first party. So even with the physical Mario Golf, you're not getting the full game at this point. The physical New Super Mario 2, you're technically not getting the full game. You're getting the full base game, but not the full all the content, and that's sad.
I mean, I think that's kind of the current state with even Mario Tennis Aces on Switch. So I mean, they released all those DLC characters, but
Nope. Nintendo has Ninja re-released those titles with updated patches. So you can get Mario Tennis with, if you look at the back of the card, you want the number to say 002, and it contains all the free content, including all those characters on the card. So those are preserved, but they don't announce it. and you have to have the specific card. But Nintendo has been doing this on the Switch, where they've re-released their games, like reprinted. Every time they reprint a game of their own, they put the latest patch on there. So all the free DLC that has come with a lot of Nintendo games, if it's gotten reprinted, it actually has the current content on the card. So it is preserved. You just have to find the right card. And again, Nintendo doesn't advertise it.
I wonder if they're going to do that with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, because like
that's
they
paid
just-
DLC. That's different though. This is free DLC.
It's true, because they don't do like Game of the Year editions like Sony
Yeah.
or whatever.
But you said Breath of the Wild. That was paid DLC. and they
That was a special release. They did that, and I hope they do it with Mario Kart 8. Yeah, they did it with Pokemon Sword and Shield. They re-released it with the expansion. There have been updates since, but at least the content is there. Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, 'cause
I
even
expected them to do Xenoblade 2 as well, but they didn't.
Even with this last wave, I know they had made some actual like balancing adjustments to some of the carts and bikes. So that's pretty much almost going to have to be printed onto a card if they're adjusting the way that some of the cars and bikes actually handle, along with like the stats of the characters. So
that
much at
update
least needs to be
might
padded.
there.
Yeah,
That
that one
update
should at least be reprinted, but it might not actually have all the DLC courses. But
Right?
that will need to be printed with like the latest version of like how the cars are supposed to behave. It'd
Maybe
be like saying buying Smash Brothers without all the different balance updates that have been released.
Well, think about Smash Brothers, right? If you get the 3DS or the Wii U version right now, if you never bought those characters, your game will never have those characters. Those versions of those characters are gone. And think about the Switch version of Ultimate, all the DLC, those 12 DLC characters that they added, all 12 of them will, if they never re-release Smash Ultimate with all the content, those 12 characters will be gone when the eShop closes. That's insane.
Yeah.
That all the Mii costumes are gone. All the stages that they added were gone. The maker, the level maker will be gone.
Yeah.
That's why I think when a game's done, they should re-release it as a Game of the Year edition with all that content and make it more expensive. Like the Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think was $80 or $90. I think it was $90 because it was 60 base game, 30 DLC, physical. Boom, get it, all have it. Fine. Make Smash Ultimate $100 release. Make it $100 release with all the content that they've ever added. That will sell. That will guaranteed sell.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's hoping, like, moving forward, that we don't have to worry about that. Also, not only hopefully they do some better job with physical releases, but I'm really hoping that they keep the same eShop moving forward. That just everything is backwards compatible and everything Switch moving forward. You can just continue to have access, just like all the other companies do.
I wish I could be so naive. This is Nintendo we're talking about.
Still hoping for it.
They made you buy the same game, like the Mario 3. If you bought on the Wii, they made you re-buy it for the Wii U, and that was pretty much just running a Wii.
That's true, but I mean, things have changed.
Now you have access.
Only charged you $1. They still made you re-buy it.
That's true, but now we're getting it through a subscription service, so it's a little different. So
we don't even get to keep it now. Now we have to pay per month for it. So, but now if the rumor is true about them not being backwards compatible, the next Switch, then why? Why would they have the same eShop at that point? It's not.
Well, if the rumors are also true, we're going back to a dual screen thing too. So who knows?
Yeah.
I think they like this idea where you have a screen on a device in your hands, and then you can also use the TV. Have you ever heard of this concept? This sounds like revolutionary here.
They should call it that, revolution.
I think they should just make the whole thing out of cardboard.
Brilliant. That's some cost cutting.
Yeah, have us assemble it. Let's go.
And then, we have to assemble it ourselves.
Man, you guys should.
No, you have to buy the game separate to buy the cardboard separate with the game that has the instructions on how to build the system.
Don't forget the sticker set so you can cosmetically make your system different. Only $6.99.
You can 3D print it if you want.
No, you must use the cardboard.
A cardboard 3D printer. That's
ooh, there we go.
Plastic card. All right.
um, I have no further thoughts about any of this except for I'm excited for Mario movie next week.
Yeah.
Except for the Disney Speedstorm actually turned me on to when I was looking up information about that. I found a game called Lego 2K Drive. Did you guys know this game existed? I didn't. I
Yeah.
haven't even heard of it, and I was like, "Why did I miss this? This is awesome!" So I'm more looking forward to that game than Disney Speedstorm.
And you know what the kicker is? The game is $60, I think, on all systems, including the Switch. And the Switch physical is actually not a physical at all. It's a case with a download code.
A Speedstorm or
Yeah,
Lego?
no, of Lego 2K Drive.
Oh, yikes!
It's
That's
like, come
unfortunate.
on, $60 for a digital code at that point in a
That's too bad.
case. Like, give us the freaking cartridge, and it's the same price as all the others
Yeah.
that are actually physical.
Wow. Well, like we said, our next episode is or actually we didn't say this, but our next episode is April 10th, which means that a lot of the next episode is going to be focused on the Super Mario Brothers movie for sure. That will be our main topic, unless some crazy thing happens in the next couple of weeks that will take that top spot. But we'll be definitely giving
Zelda
our
too.
thoughts and
showing
and
10
review.
minutes of Zelda and
Yeah,
tomorrow.
maybe. That's if you guys actually watch it because you don't want to get spoiled.
I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I'll probably need to watch it. I mean, they're always very careful to pretty much hide the story and leave
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
They'll probably be
So-
showing off any of the new like ruins or whatever, and
Yeah. So definitely Mario movie, definitely Tears of the Kingdom on our next episode on April 10th. But yeah, we're not done yet. But before we do jump into our last segment, just for a quick reminder, if you have not followed us on social media, we are at NintendoFuse on Twitter. We'd love for you to follow us over there and join our social media community. But also, if you've not joined our Discord, it's another growing community that we have there. The link is on the screen, but also in the show notes and the YouTube description. We would love for you to join both us on Twitter, but also in our Discord. So be great to have you over there. Jakester says, looking forward to Lego 2K Drive. If it wasn't made by 2K, now it's how do you pronounce that word?
Factually? I think he's what he's
Factual?
trying to say.
Foxicle? Is that a word? Or is he just making
Fosical.
things up?
Oh, now it's
Fosical?
Physical. That's worse.
Oh,
Physical is a
like the
fake release.
digital. Okay, I
Yeah.
get it now. In context, it makes sense, and I totally understand. Okay. Well, before we do jump off here, we're going to look at some of the games that are coming out over the next couple weeks. And actually, we're in one of those weird parts of the year that there's not any crazy, amazing. I mean, there are some, but very few compared to previous weeks. So we're going to be scrolling those games that are going to be coming out over the next couple weeks, thanks to Metacritic and their website showing off all those games. But a couple of the ones that you may want to keep on your radar is a game called Norn 9 that comes out on March 30th, and Blade Assault comes out on March 31st. But of those games or any other ones that you're looking forward to playing over the next couple weeks, Barry?
My main goal is to finish Bayonetta Origins and then probably go back to Kirby because it came out like with Octopath 2 and there's been too many other games coming. And if I finish that, I might look into finally doing Ulterior Ryza 2 because Ryza 3 just came out and I got really great reviews and I did the first one last year. So this small little downtime, so to speak, is actually welcomed because of how crazy the rest of the year is. So I'll take a little bit of downtime to take care of that. But yeah, that's my main goal personally.
Nice. How about you, Greg?
Barry, I'm ashamed at you. Ore Body Binder's Tale actually comes out before our next podcast, so
I've already played it.
But you didn't even want to cover it that it was coming out for.
I didn't
other
realize
people
the
to-
Switch version was coming out.
Yeah, so I'm probably gonna be picking that one up because I haven't played it before. So that's definitely on my to-do list. And yesterday I did some nice shopping and picked up some other games to hold me over after I'm done with Kirby. So I picked up the Dragon Quest Treasures because it was on sale. So definitely wanted to get going on that because that had really interested me.
You know what
I
you
also
have? Xenoblade 3.
He's not done
Yeah.
yet. He's getting to that.
He's not? So I went out and bought more games. Not that Dragon Quest Treasures is great, because it is great, but still.
Someone who goes out and buys more games when they haven't finished all the games they have. That sounds so familiar. No, just
At
kidding.
least I play the big ones, damn it.
I do like to play the big ones too. And Dragon Quest, I've really liked that series in general. So
Great. Treasures is a great game. You'll like it.
I also picked up the Oregon Trail. I saw that was on sale as well, and that's kind of like a spiritual successor to the original computer game. So I was kind of excited to play that with my girlfriend at some point. And then I also picked up another game like Chrono Cross because that was also on sale. So I don't know if I'll have a ton of time for that one, but I heard so much good things about Chrono Trigger, and I've never played that on SNES, and I know this was kind of like almost like a spiritual like sequel to it
It
or
is a
whatever.
sequel. It's a sequel.
Yeah. So I was thinking I would probably be enjoying that as well too. So that was on sale. I had some leftover funds from Christmas that I hadn't spent, and now it's completely depleted. I did pick up
Nice.
the vouchers and pre-ordered Tears of the Kingdom and also Pikmin 4. So that's how I knew Pikmin 4 was all set for July. Just a nice reminder when Barry said there's nothing coming out in the summertime.
Nothing that we don't know about. There's
Yeah, that's true.
nothing new. We knew about Pikmin 4.
Well, yeah, it was like when you were ragging on me with not knowing Fire Emblem came out in January. So I was just kind
Yeah,
of.
that was fantastic. Nothing big is happening in January. You're a Fire Emblem guy.
Well, that's what I was kind of linking to. You were like, "Oh, nothing big's happening like in the summertime," and I was like, "Oh, Pikmin 4." Like,
nothing big new. So I knew Pikmin 4 was coming. I also noticed there was a game there on that list called The Answer is 42. And
Yeah.
I might have to check that out because I'm a big Hitchhiker's fan. And I was like, wait, what is this? Is
Yeah.
this just playing off that or what?
I think it's a puzzle game. I looked into it a little bit, and yeah, I think you like connect numbers and stuff like that too. So I don't really know if it's that much of a connection to Hitchhiker's Guide.
It's just playing off of that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's
that's how you name a game to get Barry to buy it.
yeah, I think it's just like a puzzle game.
They literally start with the answer to life, the universe, and everything. It's 100% a reference to Hitchhiker's Guide.
Totally.
In fact, they even say "Don't panic." An original strategy provides excitement to use your logic and math skills. Don't panic. Yeah, it's definitely based off of playing on Hitchhiker's nostalgia.
Yeah, I think it's similar to like Threes or there's another one that like you combine the numbers together and then it eventually gets I forget what it is.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. That should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'll be a $2.99 or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like I'm gonna be a broken record, but yeah, I feel like Life is Strange 2. I need to get back to that, finish that up, and yeah, I think really like again, broken record. I've said this before, but I really want to try out all those demos that've been dropping lately on Switch. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get as many of those downloaded and play those before the next episode because we got some great ones out there, and I'll probably play some FIFA 23 since it's free, and
Give it a try.
I can actually tell you how bad it is now.
See, Greg's out there buying new games to play when he's got Life is Strange and he's got Xenoblade 3.
I have Fire Emblem Engage.
Fire Emblem Engage.
Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Fire Emblem 3 Hopes.
You're talking about Chrono Cross, a great game that was previously locked to PlayStation 1 outside of like the digital re-release kind of deal, and now brought to modern systems. And they added Radiant Dreamers into that, which was actually locked to the beta Satellaview for the Super Famicom. That was only released that way. So you could play an emulation ROM of it, but it was never officially released outside of Japan. And that they brought it all back. So it's great. It's an easy access for people to be able to play it on modern systems, and updated, and that's what we need. We need that easy accessibility. So
It's true.
it's a great release.
Jakester says going to be playing, finishing up Fire Emblem Warriors this week and starting another game and starting his third run of Digimon and going through more of Game Pass. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, if you're still in the chat, let us know what you're hoping to play over the next couple weeks. And if you're listening to this after the fact or watching after the fact on YouTube, be sure to let us know what you're going to be playing in the comments. And while you're at it, just let us know any of the thoughts that you have about any of the news stories that we've talked about in tonight's episode. Let us know in the comments. We'll go back and read those. And while you're there as well, we don't say there's a whole lot, but if there's anything you ever want to have us cover in a future episode, if you haven't shared that in our Discord, which is a fantastic place to do that, you can also drop those in the comments or also email us. We have a email that heads to all three of us. It's podcast@nintendofuse.com, and you can always contact us that way as well. We'd love for you to just keep in contact, and you're like, hey, this thing's going on, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it, and you can do that in the comments, Discord, or send us an email. Barry, anything going on cool in your life over the next couple weeks?
Pretty much on the premium side, we just put up, speaking of Ore Body, we're doing a second print of Ore Body on NES, so those went up today, which is always fun. I'd finished the script for the next Premium Direct, so that's being in the works for there. We're also going to be I'm not going to be there, but most of the team's going to be at Midwest Gaming Classic this upcoming weekend. So if you're near Milwaukee, definitely go and say hi to the team. Other than that, in gaming, a lot of it is going to be playing with the puppies, still working with them, still training them. So that's going along slowly, but well, and baby appointments and stuff like that, and helping out where needed in that regards. Trying to get the nursery started to work, be set up, and all that stuff. So it's exciting and fun and scary at the same time. Becoming real.
Nice.
Training the puppies on Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario Brothers U, or
training them to go to the bathroom on the pads and not on the floor.
I'm just being silly.
That's right.
I know.
Soon he'll have 3 human players, and he just needs to train one of those dogs to be able to play 4th player.
Yeah.
The dogs can work together, and one can hit the
That's right.
joystick, and the other one can hit the buttons.
Probably smart enough to figure it out. That's scary.
You just need to go back to simple controls like a Wiimote again.
or the Atari, just the joystick and one button.
There you go. Make it happen. Greg, anything going on in your world in the next couple weeks?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the Midwest Gaming Classic. So my girlfriend had found a different convention. I don't even remember what it was for that she had already gotten tickets for, but that was also before I even knew that the Midwest was that same day. So I'll be at that convention at least for a little while. And then pretty much this week is my daughter's spring break. So I'll be heading up to Gurnee to go to some indoor water parks with her for a few days. So that's going to be a lot of fun there as well. So yeah, it should be pretty exciting. And then I've already said, last time I had tickets for the Mario movie next week. So all set.
That's true. That's what's going on in all of our lives. We're going to see the Mario movie.
Yes, we are.
It'd be fun. It's probably going to take a lot of coordination, but how fun would it be if we all took a group trip out to Super Nintendo World?
That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know if we can make it happen. Do like a NintendoFuse day if we can all get there and see if any of the community could also be there at the same time. If you would like that to happen, let us know in the comments, and we'll see what we can do in the future. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I know Barry would love that idea because then it's we could all go to his house and play at the museum.
I'm nowhere near Super Nintendo World. It's in Florida.
Oh, not the Nintendo store. I mean the amusement park.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the store.
Oh, no.
I
mean, we could always come out to the store too. That could be maybe cheaper, but
store, yeah, that's easy.
Depends on how much. Yeah, it depends on how much you buy. I've never been to the store, and I'd love to see it. But
it's
for some reason,
fun.
when you first said Super Nintendo World, some reason I just was thinking about the store, like the
Nintendo New York.
store, Nintendo New York. But yeah, I do wish to make it out there at some point, but I might have to wait until it's in Florida where it's closer. But
If you do Nintendo New York and you wait towards like the Christmas season, you can kind of do a 2-for-1 because Nintendo New York is right there at Rockefeller Center. So you could do Nintendo New York and you could see the Christmas tree and all that. So you can kind of get
It's a great time
2-for-1
to go. Or if you go on Thanksgiving, you get to see the parade, you get to see Nintendo store, and you get to go to the tree and everything else going on too. It's fun.
That sounds a little bit better because I think you don't know if you want to be there for the ball drop on New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah, that's probably the time to avoid it.
I was saying that. But if you go before, like just before that, like the week before that, a lot of times you can see them setting up. Like I think we once went December 30th, like the day before, and we were seeing them like fix the ball and change the numbers.
Cool.
And it's not really crowded because there's nothing happening. And you can kind of see the tests. You'll see them test the ball and stuff too, which is cool. But yeah, you can do a lot during that time period.
Cool.
Especially if you've never been to New York, or you're with people who've never been to New York. There's a lot to see and do.
It's so much fun. I can't wait till we can get to go back because we've been there several times. And so my wife and I have told each other, like, the next time we go, we're just going to eat our way through the city and see several shows. So all we want to do now.
The food, you can't beat it.
Yeah. No. And it's the random places you never heard of. You're just walking down the street and you're like, that sounds amazing. We're going to stop in. And yeah, it's so great. Like,
it's the hole in the walls that have the best food.
Totally.
Like Hard Rock Cafe is just Hard Rock Cafe. Go to like the hole in the wall down a side street and it's amazing.
Oh, it's so good. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it now.
Yeah, I bet the food would be really good, but I don't think the pizza can match out here in Chicagoland. So.
Oh.
No, you don't have to eat pizza there. There's so many other options.
You'll get shot.
The good thing is, though, Greg, if you do just choose to eat pizza in New York, then you don't have to worry about like not being able to eat anything else. It's like in Chicago, you eat pizza, and they're like, that's your only meal for the whole day, maybe the next day. It's good, but it's all you're going to be eating
because it's a casserole.
I mean, there's that one slice of pizza fills you up. I feel sorry for you because that's only one meal for me. You can still easily enjoy a awesome breakfast and a great lunch as well.
Oh no, I'm not stopping at one.
Well, I wasn't trying to imply you'd eat the whole pie, but yeah, I usually could handle 2 as like a meal from like most of the places that have those bigger pieces. But
yeah, it's all good. It's pizza. There's very few pizzas that I've eaten that I don't like, and those are really bad. But we won't talk.
Stay
about
away
those.
from those.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 268. So we're going to be back with 269 on April 10th. And like I said, I'm going to be talking a lot about the Mario movie. Going to be talking about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom preview that we're going to be getting tomorrow on March 28th. But until then, happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.